Welcome to Tommy Solo's Famous Friends. This is where I get to chat with people who I've connected with in the world of arts and entertainment over the years, and today on this short episode, I'm glad to have back with me original lead guitar player from Moxy, now with Black Cadillacs and Canada Rocks. Welcome back to the show, Earl Johnson. How's it going, Earl?
Good. You've seen the Black Cadillac stuff. We're doing a lot of work on that, launching that stuff right now. So that's been keeping me pretty busy up to date,
Cool. And I've seen some of the videos and I've heard some of the music, and it's pretty awesome. So what inspired the Black Cadillacs?
Well, quickly, the COVID thing, I ended up having to come back to Hamilton just because of family situations and a death in my family and all that. Anyways, long story short, I ended up here, hooked up with an old friend of mine, Dave Davidson, who was a drummer in the last band I played in before Moxy. And Dave and I just started hanging around. Actually, we were just playing tennis. We got bored one day, so why don't we just get a bass player and start doing shit? So we got Donnie Hill, and then we started working on stuff. And then some of the songs started to develop. And the first single, True Love, I had actually wrote that about 4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. And then we started from there. And then Chris Jackson, who became the vocalist, got recommended to us by a friend of ours, Nick DeNiro, who was an engineer and worked with Chris a lot. And Chris did a demo of True Love and just blew our socks off. And we just went, holy Jesus. And then we started working together. Nailed down the other 3 songs. We put the other 3 songs together. Now we've got about 6 more sitting on the burner that we're probably doing 5 of them additional next week at our launch. So we've got 9, 10 songs.
That's awesome. So yeah, there's nothing like a pandemic to inspire you to do things creatively. That's what inspired this podcast. For me it was I spent all this time in the music business, and I've connected with so many people like yourself over the years. And I thought, you know what, you better just get on the phone and do something to try and make people happy and all this dark stuff. So I'm real happy with your new music. So you've got a show coming up. Where is it again?
It's at the Corktown Pub in Hamilton. It's called the CD release party. Effectively, people coming in are going to get a slip for a digital download. And anybody who comes in, they get that slip for the EP, but they will also get the additional songs once they're recorded for the finished album. They'll get those songs as well.
Well, that's really cool. So I know there are a couple of singers in the Black Cadillacs. What are their backgrounds?
Chris, believe it or not, is from New Orleans via Denver. Met a girl in Denver from Hamilton. Followed her to Hamilton, married her, had kids. And then he was just kind of kicking around, doing studio stuff and writing his own music. He had never done a band thing before, so it was new territory for him. But then we put him on stuff like Black Cadillac, which is kind of like a bluesy rock tune. And he's got a really radio-friendly voice, really clean, clear voice. Kind of reminds me of Buzz and Moxy in the old days, how clean his voice was, The diction of it, the sound of it just comes out perfect, And we've gone more of the R&B with a bit of blues rock in there, But that's what we've been leaning. Believe it or not, in some of the new tunes, we got a reggae tune in one. We got one that you would swear was right out of Philadelphia from the 70s,
I found that True Love has a real Gary Moore kind of vibe.
Yeah. It does. And I'd always loved that big single he had. I always loved, what was it, Clapton's tune too, Old Love. I always loved that song. So those kind of tunes that kind of inspired that,
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Still Got the Blues.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a clone or anything, but it just gives you that vibe, and your guitar playing was really passionate in it, and the vocals, the whole thing, just it really hit me. Now, I understand that was written about your ex, who unfortunately left us in 2019.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I had written it, but I never recorded it. I could never get the right vibe or the right singer on it, etc. And so it just kept sitting there. And then it was ideal to have as a cornerstone for this band because it gives us that bluesy signature sound, It's interesting because Gary Moore he went down that whole blues road at the end of his life, at the end of his career.
Yeah.
But he was never known as a blues player, ever.
Nah, he was known for rocking out as a lead guitar player with Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, and he had done his own stuff, and and he was a rocker. He was a straight up rocker. We did a gig with him in Sweden in 2001.
Wow.
At the Sweden Rock Festival. I just have to watch the play when home. Just an amazing player. Anyways, he was an amazing player, great tone, all that stuff, but really had a rock edge bite to it, right? So when I was doing the solos for this one, I'm not going to try and be Stevie Ray because we don't need another Stevie Ray, I'm not Gary Moore. And then somebody said, that solo sounds like a combination of Gary Moore and Santana. Well, that's not a bad thing, I don't think, So I was quite happy with that,
Yeah, well, we all, as guitar players, we all were inspired by the greats, right?
Yeah.
And, just for somebody to say to me, wow, that sounds like Santana, I'm like, thank you. How much do I owe you?
Well, I've been teaching guitar for like 12 years now. So I've had to learn a ton of guitar outside of what I normally would play. And that influences you after a while. And you're playing all these different scales, diminished, you're playing minors, you're playing Dorians, all these different lick combinations that you learn from other songs. And it creeps into your playing.
Yeah, and some of that comes through in No More Lies as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, because that's got a real kind of R&B feel to it right off. It sounds like a rock riff off the top, and it goes right into an R&B feel,
Well, in my notes, I've got R&B meets rock and roll.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going with it, We've got one we're working on right now, which is really almost a Philly soul number. And it's got minor sevenths, major sevenths, coming out your ears. But it sounds pretty as hell. And the guy wrote great lyrics on it. So now we're working on that as a potential single down the road as well.
Yeah, I was quite surprised to see you playing some of those chords, to be honest with you, because nothing comes easy playing rock and roll, but it gets even less easy when you start throwing augmented ninths, diminished, and a few jazz chords in there, So
what it does, though, is it opens up your ability to write more music on guitar. If you're in a particular genre, but if you're doing a little bluesy R&B, soul kind of thing, it really opens up.
Absolutely. Playing some of those advanced chords is like adding more colors of paint to your palette.
And you're playing a 4-note chord instead of a 3-note. It makes a big difference.
It does, but according to Gene Simmons, and I don't disagree, you can't play a major seventh chord through 10 Marshall stacks cranked to 11.
No, it ain't going to happen.
No, save that for the Moxy gigs, right?
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is the Moxy fans that have heard this music have really liked it. And, hey, listen, we're all getting a little older for mellowing out. That's not a bad thing, Nobody can live as hard as they did when they were 25 and 30.
No, that's true. And it says something, too, for guys who are, in their 60s and onward, that you can actually hear those notes. I think it's good for your brain to be able to actually hear and comprehend those major sevenths and Dorian things and whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it is. Again, it just opens up more melody to you, the songwriter, And that's really what I've been going after. And we've got a couple tunes, the new ones. One is a real straight kind of bluesy. It almost sounds like a Healy song, but then it breaks into major seventh, minor seventh riff on it, and it works great. Because you're just doing like a jazz kind of turnaround on it, right? It works out. You can play a straight minor chord with a blues riff, and then away you go, So that's the kind of stuff we're trying to do. We'll try to put a different twist on the blues, a little bit modern spin on it,
Well, that's something that, again, Gary Moore did that. We still got the blues. If you transcribe the chords to that song, it's got a lot of crazy modal stuff in there that you just wouldn't expect in a typical blues song, So
I've caught Stevie that song.
Yeah.
I got to ask them first, are you ready for this? And if they say, yeah, I say, okay, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. We covered it in a band, 15 years ago, and I had to just sing it. I said to the other guitar player, you got this because I'm not going to be able to stay on meter playing guitar and singing it at the same time. Just not going to happen. So.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
I know you guys have got some videos out there. So where can the people find Black Cadillacs on video?
Well, we're Black Cadillacs True Love. We've got it up on YouTube. We've got a Facebook page. We're working on the website. I think a website when you got a couple albums makes sense. You know what I mean?
I think the thing about websites now is that you really have to have a website promoter, just like, getting on radio. It's like now you got to pay a radio promoter to get your music played on the radio. So I think
Yeah,
you're right. For what the goal is, you stick
yeah,
with the social media and find the right
yeah,
platforms to distribute your music digitally. And I mean, it's
yeah,
like anything else, right? If it really, really takes off and is heading for the
yeah,
moon, then you start to
yeah,
manufacture CDs and merch and whatever. But I think you guys are on the right
yeah.
track with that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, really, what we're looking for is just to work our way into the blues festival circuit and blues rooms,
yeah,
and that's
that's
really where we want to go. Because even a lot of the blues labels out there, they claim they're looking for bands with crossover potential. That's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to play it down the middle. So that, yeah, it's bluesy, it sounds R&B, but it sounds pleasant, and if that works, it works,
I'll tell you from my own personal experience, I've played Frankenstein at a blues festival more than once. you know, and and that's not really a
Yeah.
blues tune, but
No, no.
we are in a crossover period with the blues festivals and rock
Yeah.
festivals. The same people go to both. You can't.
Yeah.
I don't think you
Yeah.
can go wrong with that approach, Earl.
Yeah. No, we're going to be staying with that. I mean, the thing is nowadays as well, nothing's going to happen fast anymore. You don't have access to mainstream radio for a new band. We could throw 20 grand at this in promotion, and we're not going to get on Q107 or any other major promo station now. Because I mean, it's so dollar driven now. Every song that they play, they look at it as that song has got to make them money, not help them promote some new band.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all
So
factory music on the radio. And I mean, it wasn't
yeah,
that long ago that I was able to, and I'm sure you have had this experience too, where you could just knock on a door at a radio station and shake somebody's hand and give them your music.
yeah,
And then, you had a chance to get on
yeah,
the radio. But now
yeah,
that same radio
yeah,
station is going to be corporate owned and the office is going to be somewhere in
yeah,
BC and you can't get the guy on the
yeah.
phone.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I think you're on the
So
right track. And, I've found from my personal experience that festivals are a lot of fun because, as you kind of mentioned before about the Canada Rocks gig, the crowd is there for the music. Their
yeah,
attention is on
yeah,
you guys. And it's not like
yeah,
you're playing in some bar where there's no stage and, you got to
yeah,
lug all your
yeah,
gear up 3 flights of
yeah,
stairs and then everybody's
yeah.
mad because they're trying to play pool or watch the hockey game. And what's this band doing here?
Yeah. Well, with the COVID now, almost all those bars are gone.
Yeah, a lot of them
They
are.
Toronto got wiped out. There's just nowhere to play in Toronto. And I know a bunch of my buddies playing different tribute bands, and they're the only guys working. And it's only a tribute band that gets played in any of the bars that are actually booking bands, right? So
Yeah.
it's really took out the bottom end. It really did.
Yeah, it sure did. But where there's a will, there's a lawyer. Or, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you're right with the lawyer thing too. Believe me. I mean, hey, this onward and upward. I mean, the thing that happened. I don't know if I told you this quickly. Is that I found out my birth father was a full-blooded Indian. Okay, he was born actually over at the Six Nations Reserve, and we were just there yesterday, and they're playing "True Love" and a few other songs on the FM station over.
Very cool.
So it's a pretty wild story. The bass player Donnie's a Mohawk. He kind of got it out of me. I looked into it more and more. So Jesus Christ, my dad was a full-blooded Indian. I didn't know. So explains a few things that happened in my life, good, bad, or indifferent. Right? We're working on a tune right now for the Every Child Matters campaign too. So we're trying to get involved in that area as well.
What is the campaign again?
Well, the Every Child Matters thing that's going on.
Okay.
Right now, but it's getting promoted and all that. We're trying to set this up. It's going to take a while. But we've got a song written. We want to try to get it out there as a statement song based on Every Child Matters situation and the ongoing residential nightmare that's coming up.
Right. Yeah.
Brantford one's going to be bad. It's going to be. But we're not going to go down that road right now. Okay.
Yeah. Bottom line right now is you've got new music, you've got a couple of new bands, and lots of good stuff coming. New EP coming next weekend. Editor's note, the Black Cadillac's debut gig and new music release party happens this Saturday, November 27th, 2021 at Corktown in Hamilton, 8 p.m. So if you're in the Hamilton area, you want to check that out for sure, Saturday, November 27th. Now back to the show.
It's 170 Yonge Street. Tickets are available at the door. I think it's $15. And that's going to get anybody comes in 4-song digital download plus the upcoming songs as soon as they're ready for release.
Okay, and people can find all of your information on your Facebook. So Earl Johnson on Facebook.
Yeah. You can go to my page or the Black Cadillac page as well.
That's awesome. Well, we'll look forward to the release, and I thank you so much, Earl, for doing this again. And until next time, cheers.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tom.
Well, all these years later, Earl Johnson has come a long way as a guitar player since Can't You See I'm a Star. Now here is the brand new single from his new band Black Cadillacs, True Love. Enjoy.
Never wanna hurt you, babe. Never wanna make you cry. Never wanna cause you pain or be the reason why. In this crazy world we live, everybody needs someone. When your world starts crashing down, let me be the one to give you true love, so true, true love, hey, true love, baby, true love, love is so true that you can't deny. Love is so real, it could change your life. So many times I felt the pain of a love gone bad. Too many times I never realized just what I had. When I hold you in my arms, feels like time stands still. Where you love me, really love me, I can never get my fill of all that true love, so true, true love, nothing better, baby, true love, nothing better, baby, true love, love is so true that you can't deny. Love is so real, it could change your life. Take this heart of mine, let's never say goodbye. I'm gonna love you, really love you, through the day that I die.
Tommy Solo's Famous Friends is a one-man production, meaning that I've done all the work, including producing, editing, guest acquisition, etc. All rights reserved. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The theme song for Tommy Solo's Famous Friends was written and recorded by Tommy Solo with a little help from my friends in the Night Crew. And hey, if you like the show, why not subscribe? Until next time, cheers.